people? I just wanted to make this kind of video talking about my solar journey, essentially, that started back in November of 2020. So this year will make 2 years in November. That's cool. Got the eco bottle, of course. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share, like what it's been like, especially since there's not a lot of, women in solar. So we're, trying to change that, of course. And the fact that, like, I never did solar before. I'm relatively new to solar because this was my first solar job ever. Whereas, there's other people, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, years of experience. So I think it's important, that people know that you don't need to, have been doing this for, years and years and years on end, or need to have a background in business or sales at all, just because, I definitely didn't. I did have a Cutco job when I was 16, but I wasn't super taking it like that seriously. I just really wanted like a job to put on my resume because I was like so college focused and like driven that like that was the main goal. That was like the thing to do for me. So like my focus wasn't even like trying to like key in and like really take advantage of that opportunity like I could have, because I know a few people that have done very well in Cutco, and that are now in solar doing this. So it's just interesting how that pattern happens. But I ended up being able to take advantage of this opportunity to just learn a really valuable skill, selling. It's so important, like just from all the lessons I've learned in like business and sales period, just since doing this, it's really something that you can take with you, wherever and with whatever you do. If you're owning your own business, sales is huge. You can have the best idea, but if you can't get it to anyone and no one wants to buy it and get in the nitty-gritty of like, hey, money's getting taken and transferred, and actually deposits are going into the company, like it doesn't matter how great the idea is or the product. Someone has to be able to do that at the end of the day. So really nice to be able to have learned that from quality, like ethical people that care, not just about the people that are in the company, but about the customers and the people that we're trying to serve. So really, when we say that, ECO stands for empathy, connection, and oath, like we really stand by that in every way. So it's been nice to kind of just be able to have that experience and make the connections with the people that I have. Like it's really truly been a blessing, and I'm excited for what we're about to do, and just wanted to share a little bit of tidbits of maybe my best or my favorite moments being on this like solar journey. And I would have to say it's probably the Serrato family. That's a family in Tracy that I helped out when we went back to finish everything up. Like they were just even though they gave me a little pull and tug, it's like, hey, that's the name of the game. But we were able to figure things out, and they're hilarious. Their dad is like he's the biggest troll ever, basically. Like it was so funny. And like him and the son's husband or partner kept getting into it and they would just like completely roast each other. Like it was so funny. And then they like showed me all their like Christmas lights, and they look very extensive, like very serious, about the Christmas lights. And they're like, it used to be bigger, okay, like please, this is nothing. And I'm like, okay, I believe it. But yeah, they were very funny, and they were a referral from one of my favorite customers, Alonzo Longoria. He was my first knocking deal that I sold in Tracy, which is where I'm at now. So definitely always a very fond memory of him, and he's also my favorite customer because when he moved to another house in Riverbank, um, within the time of me like living here, he bought another system from me. So repeat customer, you know, and I sold him a different product, sold him the loan the second time. So it's it's pretty cool, you know, just being able to make connections like that. Like I even had dinner with them multiple times. Like that connection part of the ego. Like I definitely use that in my sales process. I mean, all the time, but just naturally, not in a non-genuine way. Like I really just try to find a way that, you know, we connect, and that's why, you know, my customers love me, and we will, you know, do things outside of, you know, solar all the time. I'm like, I'll send them funny things, or like, you know, just bring up reference little inside jokes, or like we'll just be on the phone for, you know, a minute after they're asking their solar questions, and they just want to know, you know, what I think about things, because they say that I bring like a refreshing, you know, take coming from like someone my age, because it's not normal to kind of run into someone my age and my race, quite frankly, that's not like feeding into the like victim narrative, and, you know, can think for themselves and think outside of kind of just what this box that I feel like Black Americans sometimes get put into by, frankly, ourselves. I mean, we're doing that to ourselves, unfortunately. So that's definitely something that I've changed, for sure, since moving here. Because I mean, if anyone who knew me before, I was very, you know, very about the like being oppressed, and like feeling like racism was really Black people's biggest issue, like, and feminism and all of these things. I was totally for that. But it's different when you move to a new place. You just start learning and researching and doing your own kind of thinking for yourself, and it's quite freeing, honestly. And you'd be surprised, you know, kind of the reaction that you would get, like, from customers. And obviously that doesn't come up all the time, but I mean, with everything that's going on, it's just important to be able to be yourself, honestly. That's a lot of what even learning how to sell solar has taught me too. Is just, I had the tendency to want to like try to copy what I would see someone do, or like just write things, or just like be kind of remote and like trying to, or rote and trying to like memorize something. And it's like you really just have to let that go. And once I just started being myself, you know, I feel like my sales increased. Like I just felt better, instead of just trying to fit into a box and like say what I thought that they wanted to hear, you know. Or, you know, it's just like just being honest and authentic and transparent has really like taken me very far. And I mean, I've done pretty well, I would say, especially now that I'm leading the inside sales. So that's what I'm trying to, you know, get more women to come into eco and do. I, you know, sold more than 700,000 worth of solar in the first quarter of the year. So it's exciting, kind of, you know, thinking about what's going to happen the rest of this year. And a lot of the fruits of my labor are, you know, coming in, and it's great. I'm like definitely in this attitude of gratitude. Thank you. Shout out to Michael Beckwith of Agape International Spiritual Center, one of my favorite places on earth. The vibe there is unmatched. But yeah, so that's just kind of what's been going on this year and kind of recently with my solar journey. I started out, you know, knocking, and then now I'm leading the inside sales team with us here, so that's exciting stuff. I started that kind of back in December, December, so it's been going pretty well, and yeah, I'm excited about that. And I mean, I feel like the way that I even got here, it's just very interesting, because like I never thought that I would go from like, you know, getting paid $25 an hour as a brand ambassador, or like 15 as a corporate event planner, you know, well, it wasn't an internship, it was a full-time job, but yeah, so from going from that to, you know, being paid 3, 4, 5, or 6, or 7, you know, depending on how big the deal is, being paid, you know, 3 to 7, you know, thousand on one deal, I mean, is a blessing. And I mean, I've even made more than that, because I'm like, this new install is pretty big, so it's really been a blessing to, you know, be able to use this as a vehicle to, you know, purchase real estate, and that's definitely what my plans are for this year, so I'm excited about that. I'd say, like, and probably like just segueing into like the hardest part about like doing this, or like being a woman in this, you know, I was in a male centric, like there was no other women here where I was doing this. Like it was very interesting at first, because of, like I was saying, the beliefs, the limiting kind of beliefs, and false, quite frankly, limiting and false beliefs that I had when I first came here. Made it quite an adjustment, to say the least. And I wouldn't say that like I changed my beliefs either, like because I was here. I would say that I started getting exposed to different, you know, beliefs and like facts, to be honest, and different sources of information that I wasn't aware of before. Like, and at first I was resistant to it, and then I had to go take a look for myself, because at the end of the day, I have a quest to get to the truth. Like, and I feel like before I was suppressing that, and I mean, quite frankly, like believing too, like some of the things that I was, you know, the programming, honestly, from like college to high school to media to friends, family, like, you know, you just believe the stuff. And I'm like, I get it, because I'm like, I was totally in it. I was at the protests, like I was doing all that. But like, once you actually start doing the research and get down to the net of it, and you find out like what the actual history is, what's actually happening now, where's the money from certain organizations like Black Lives Matter going to, like, when you just get down to like the net of it and the truth, and I have a desire for the truth, I had to, you know, make a change. And I feel like if you're presented with new information and you decide to continue to still, you know, go towards the lie when you know it's a lie, then it's like, okay, that's some internal, you know, work you've got to handle, but that, again, that's on you. Like, you can't put that on everyone else. So I feel like that's where I ended up being able to open up and just have a more open mind and learn more, and that helped me break down the barrier of resistance to getting taught by men, you know, and like the way that I interacted with them, because it's like, at the end of the day, we have to interact with each other. I'm like, especially as a woman, I mean, you're in a male dominated, you know, field, but also we have men in our life, relationship wise, like, so it helped to, you know, break down that like resistance and like low level of contempt, you know, that I had for men. to be honest. So it's like it definitely gave me a shock to my system, but it was something I needed to do, anyways, for that, like, just healing, like with that first relationship with the male that you have, your dad. So it really helped in a lot of different, I mean, there was other contributing factors to that happening, of course, but I feel like since it was all happening at the same time, like it really just helped my life in general. So that was an unexpected, benefit of being in sales and doing this and just where I was. And so I am trying to change that a little bit, because I do want some women on my team, and it's been fun to like start training and like helping people actually learn how to sell solar. It's way more fun than I expected it to be, just as fun as doing the actual appointments and all of that. But yeah, so I would say that's kind of been my journey so far. It's been fun, honestly. I'm very excited and happy, like, with what I'm doing, and I'm glad that I get to help people save money, and then also help our community kind of grow and build something for ourselves that's gonna benefit people from life to come. So thanks for watching.